Bonjour les amis, what's for dessert? Haha, look at those cuties! Deluxe chocolate tartlet. Check this out, chocolate crust, hazelnut spread, and a luscious and intense in flavor chocolate ganache. Let's get to work, and first in the agenda I'm gonna make the chocolate crust. In the food processor I'm gonna smooth out the butter along with powdered sugar, almond meal and salt. Then I'm going to throw in there the egg, vanilla, flour and cocoa powder. Chocolate crust, pâte sucrée au chocolat, done. So now you've got two options. You can refrigerate the pastry and roll it out later, or flatten out right away into pastry sheets. So you want to shape half of the pastry into a log, so that way it's going to be way easier to roll out into a rectangle, right? Sandwiched between a baking mat and parchment paper, and turn chocolate pastry into a thin sheet, and I mean it, 2 mm thick. Well, remember the thickness of the crust while making pies or tarts should be around 3 to 4 millimeters, but don't be afraid to go further down while making individual tartlets. The thinner, the better. I'm gonna put this guy in the freezer and I'm gonna do likewise with the remaining pastry. To follow, I'm gonna show you how to make a praline spread from scratch. Praline spread is a mixture of caramel and nuts, and here I'm gonna use hazelnuts and almonds. I'm gonna toast them first, and meanwhile I'm gonna turn sugar into caramel. By the way, professional grade praline can be found online. Last resort, Nutella can be used instead. Alright, so when caramel is set and cool, break into pieces and set aside. Since hazelnut spread lasts forever, you can plan to make it long in advance. Throw toasted nuts in a food processor, turn on and add caramel and let it run for quite a while until mixture turns into paste. So now let's take care of the tart shells. So I am going to grab the first frozen pastry sheets and cut it into strips slightly taller than the tart ring. So depending on the weather and the fact that the pastry sheet is quite thin, it won't take that long to thaw. Voila! So now that's gonna go back in the freezer. And cut the other pastry sheets into 3 1/4 8 cm diameter disc. Yet store all the cuts in a freezer until ready to use. So this recipe calls for 6 tartlets, so I'm gonna grab 6 frozen rounds and 6 strips. Though you want to keep the strips in a freezer and grab them one at a time. As soon as it shows some flexibility, it's ready to be dealt with. If it ends up being too soft, don't hesitate to put it back in the freezer and grab another one. Repeat until done and freeze the tart shell for 20 minutes before trimming off excess pastry. Freeze again until ready to bake. And you want to blind bake those tart shells for 30 minutes, 20 minutes with pie weights and 10 minutes more without. Tart shells done. Alright, let's make the ganache. So the ganache is a mixture of 1-to-1 ratio, heavy cream and chocolate. Use a good quality chocolate that's got between 64 and 72% of cocoa liquor. The higher the cocoa percentage, the lower the sugar. So bring to a boil heavy cream and honey, then pour half of the hot liquid into the chocolate. Let it sit for about a minute or so and begin to stir. When it's completely incorporated, add remaining heavy cream. Stir that up again and add the butter. So because I am making a small quantity, I'm going to transfer the ganache into a narrow container, so it's going to be way easier to mix. Thanks to the butter and the emulsion given by the immersion blender, this is going to enhance the texture of the ganache tremendously. Now the fun. I can't wait to try. What about you? So in each tartlet, you want to add about a tablespoon of hazelnut spread and fill that up with ganache. For the garnishing, I'm gonna add a tiny bit of lightly toasted cocoa nibs. I hope guys you have enjoyed this chocolate dessert episode. To get the full recipe, go to my website brunoalbouze.com. Please subscribe to my website and cooking channel, and don't forget to sign up in order to get my free ebook. Have a gorgeous day and see you very soon. Lost a nut.